Hello, I'm Dilek Tuna. Welcome to another episode of Context. Today on the program, we navigate politics, perception and proliferation with views from faith, foreign policy and the region. As tensions continue to simmer over Tehran's nuclear ambitions, we unpack the complexities of Iran's nuclear program, its progress, its limits and its potential impact across the region. How nuclear enriched is modern Iran really? And how much concern should there be, particularly when the IAEA itself says there's no current evidence of a bomb in the making? So joining us on Context today are Yossi Kuprawasser he's the director of the Jerusalem Center for Security and Foreign Affairs, Jerusalem. And we have the director of the Caucasus Policy Analysis Center from Baku, Azerbaijan, Mr. Ahmed Alili. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining the program.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
So, Yossi, I'll start with you. How do you interpret Iran's nuclear posture today? Is this about national pride, deterrence, or something more strategic in the regional balance of power?
Well, I think it's all of the above. It's also a matter of national pride, but first and foremost, it's a project that's supposed to put Iran in a position to become a regional superpower and in the future an international superpower. And on the way, it's also a tool that might enable Iran to accomplish one of the goals of the radical Islamic regime that they have over there, which is to wipe Israel off the map of the world. So that's another option that is going to be open to the Iranians if they are able to have a nuclear weapon. But on top of that, it's also in order to deter anybody from doing anything that may endanger Iran and especially the regime. All of the above are goals that can be achieved by producing nuclear weapons, and the Iranians were trying to do that.
Okay, I'll ask my next question to you as well. From your standpoint, how credible is Iran's claim that its nuclear program is strictly peaceful?
Not credible at all. If you want to have nuclear capabilities and activity for peaceful purposes, you don't build a facility like Fordow, which hosts only 3,000 centrifuges and is built in the depths of a mountain 60 meters under the ground. So there's no need for that. If you want to have a peaceful program, you don't experiment tests of explosives that can make a nuclear bomb, and you don't produce them. You don't have a weaponization group. These are all nonsense. Of course, the Iranians don't need these nuclear capabilities for peaceful purposes. Their plan is to produce nuclear weapons. And coming back to the International Atomic Energy Agency, what they said was in this last report that they gave, not only that Iran is moving fast towards having the capability to produce these weapons, but they said that Iran in the past breached the Non-Proliferation Treaty and had a structured program to produce nuclear weapons. That's what they said. And until today, they don't manage to get from the Iranians the information regarding 4 sites that were used in this respect and that Iran did not declare. So let's be reasonable. The Iranians, not only that they are having a program that is not for peaceful purposes, but for military purposes, they are still not coming clean on what they did in this respect and are trying to move towards having this weapon. As they enrich uranium to 60%, there's no justification for enriching uranium for 60% besides nuclear military purposes. And they have accumulated 408 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% that can be enriched to 90% to military grade within no time at all. And accumulated all this quantity in their storage and stockpiles. And the IAEA was concerned about that too. They said that there is no justification for enriching uranium to these high levels. And the only explanation is that they are trying to build a military nuclear arsenal.
Okay, and Ahmed, how is Iran's nuclear trajectory being perceived in Azerbaijan and the broader Caspian region, more as a threat, a concern, or a strategic distraction?
Well, everyone who follows news, what's happening between Iran and Azerbaijan in the recent years, they know that there is quite big tensions. But that is why, in this regard, anyone in the region trying to acquire a nuclear weapon for Azerbaijan is a bit source of problem also. So that is why, in this sense, the countries that try to establish their arms in international platforms, they are, of course, likely they are going to create uneasy for the neighbors also. So Azerbaijan, in this context, neighbors with two countries that are, let's say, hard to predict, and these countries are Russia and Iran, and both of them are engaged in a military conflict right now. So I believe that in this context, Azerbaijan feels itself in a bit hot seat. So that is why Azerbaijan watches after Iran and Russia and any other country that intends to establish its own norms, ways of behavior, its own vision on international, etc. So that is why I would say that all South Caucasus countries are watching very closely with all of those developments. That's going to affect not only the situation in a broader region, in international order, but also in the regional order in South Caucasus. So that's what we're all closely watching that.
Okay. Now, Yossi, speaking of the IAEA earlier, they also made a recent statement and they said that there was no evidence of a nuclear bomb, that there was no evidence found. How does this affect Israel's policy calculations, or does it change anything at all?
Well, it's wonderful that there is no nuclear bomb in Iran, because this allows us to operate. If they would already have a nuclear bomb, it would have been too late. And we are trying to prevent them from producing one. That's what we are trying to do. And it's true that they don't have one yet. And what we are doing is to hit all the elements that may allow them to produce one in the future. We take care of the enrichment facilities. Not all of them yet, but I hope we shall eventually take care of the Fordow facility as well. We take care of the laboratories in which they do all kinds of experiments that are necessary in order to produce the bomb itself. We take care of the sites in which they produce the advanced centrifuges that allow them to enrich uranium very fast. We take care of the scientists that are key in this project. So we took care of something like 10 scientists that are the leaders of the project, of the weaponization of the uranium. And once we do all of that, then there is a reason to believe that it's going to be very difficult for Iran to produce a nuclear bomb, which they were trying to move towards, and we intercepted their activities.
And Ahmed, how might an escalation or miscalculation over Iran's nuclear program affect regional energy corridors, trade and stability in the South Caucasus?
That the bigger the straits of comes in their stability, but right now South Caucasus is in a more precarious situation because if you follow the map, and you would see that most of the airlines, they are preferring to fly over South Caucasus in order to from Europe. So it means that there is another corridor, the region that plays that role. It's land road, not a sea road, but it's a corridor also. That's why when we hear all of those messages that Iran might use its military potential to disrupt that sea, and then we are in South Caucasus, there is a quite a concern and be repeated for South Caucasus also. So again, we are playing all playing this role. So that is why that is quite a big source of course also.
Okay, now Yossi, this is more of a question that's perhaps involved in internal affairs of Iran, but I'll call upon your expertise as an analyst. How do religious scholars in Iran have influence over national security decisions, or is this now a purely political arena?
No, I think that the ideology, the extreme ideology of the regime in Iran had a very important impact on the way they developed their posture vis-a-vis the other players in the world, and in the region primarily and towards Israel as well. They believe that we are the small Satan and the United States is a big Satan and that they have to fight against them. They shout every Friday, death to Israel, death to America. And this is what drives them. And this is the reason why they were trying to develop the nuclear weapons and the other things that they did. They established all kinds of terror groups around us in order to help in making us disappear. And that's the ideology that we are fighting. This is a radical ideology that is, in my mind, a wrong interpretation of Islam. And but they enforce it on Iran political and military structures. And this is something that we want to see changed. This doesn't mean that we are able to do it on our own to change the attitude. We hope that the people of Iran, most of them are upset with this situation and suffer the suppression and the tyranny of the regime, will at one point step up and say enough is enough. And what we do now may be considered as a first step in this direction, helping them to take action. Because we, amongst other things, we weaken the regime too. While we take action against its air defenses and it's against intelligence and military structures, we weaken the regime, and we are actually building an opportunity here for the people of Iran to do something about it. But it's up to them to decide whether they are going to be able and determined enough in order to go and really try and topple the regime.
So based on that, you said that, and it is known actually to a certain extent that the people in Iran, the population is not necessarily happy with the current governance in the country. From your perspective, how do ordinary people in the region, beyond Iran as well, especially in countries close to Iran, feel about this issue? Would you say there's anxiety, fatigue, or indifference?
Well, it seems that everybody's watching from the veranda, nobody's getting involved in that, and they leave the dirty job for us to do. We are doing it. It's because we don't have any other options, so we have decided to take action. I think everybody in their hearts want, I don't know, maybe not everybody, but most people in the region and in the neighboring country of Iran would like to see a different leadership in Iran, because this leadership creates instability, promotes terrorism. And that's why I think most people in the region who are interested in stability and prosperity, just saw before I joined the program, I saw on your television a program about innovation in Azerbaijan. That's what people want to see happening, and improvement of the living conditions. That's what they want to see. And what the regime in Iran is trying to do is to stop this from happening, dragging the entire region back. So I hope that the people in the region try to convince themselves that this is going to change something in Iran and make their life better too.
Okay. Now, Ahmed, do you think countries like Azerbaijan, with close economic and geopolitical ties in the region, have a role to play in easing tensions or facilitating dialogue?
Well, Azerbaijan-Israel relations, as always, was a sort of platform for Turkey-Israel relations also. Like those resources that Azerbaijan had, relations with Israel, that helped Turkey also to deal with Israel. But when it's about Iran, how Azerbaijan can be, what kind of role Azerbaijan can play, it's very tricky. But the right now is much more concerned about Iran-Azerbaijan. So there is a big diaspora, and we don't call them diaspora, but just understand the scale that they are the second biggest group in Iran. The big diaspora of Iran and Azerbaijan is they are right now on the file how to create this environment that they don't feel that Azerbaijan and Turkey have left them alone. So there are these kind of issues, and that in order to certain room opportunity for the future dialogue, and especially before in certain cases with the national minorities in Iran. I believe that this kind of issues might be quite an important topic for discussions between Azerbaijan and Israel, and Turkey, Israel, and I believe Israel's vision about Iran, what's the exit strategy, is quite important for Azerbaijan. This process might lead, because we are neighbors with Iran, and then it might affect our geostrategic positioning also. So that is the issue, and I believe that taking into account the how deep relation Israel and Azerbaijan, we can develop certain full of all of those problems, and even play that other players can play again in the relations resources for other regions.
Okay, Ahmed, I'll ask you my next question as well. How should the international community, particularly Muslim-majority countries, respond to Iran's nuclear trajectory? Is there enough intra-regional dialogue on this issue?
Well, this question is about political thing, right? So researcher, so I can reply on that issue. I can answer that. I see that right now everybody is worried that there might be a new security vacuum in the region. They know what happened with Iraq, and Iraq used to be quite a big country that would balance Iran for many decades. But then with Iran, you would see that Iran would gain more ground, and Iran would develop a network in the Middle East, and certain proxy powers assist the ones that's already established. So in this context, like that new security vacuum in the region, that sounds as threatening to many countries, and especially I would say that Arab countries, they are trying to go around on this issue. We are seeing that Pakistan is also worried on this issue. We can witness what is Turkey stand on this issue. We are saying that everybody is worried about the new security might emerge as a result of becoming, let's say, not a relevant player. So everybody is kind of used to those balance of power in the region. Of course, nobody wants to get nuclear weapon. Everybody's worried about that. That Iran wants to increase its presence in geopolitical and geostrategic presence. And nobody wants that, but also big players being replaced by certain security vacuum is a big challenge for the countries, Iran also. So that is why I believe that now that all the regions bordering Iran, they are a bit concerned on that.
Okay, so we're having some difficulty with the sound there, but we'll have to wrap it up. Thank you very much to both my guests for joining us on the program today. A nuclear Iran threat or theatre, while suspicions persist and diplomacy drags, the region watches closely, mindful of what could be and what may never come to pass. That's all from us on Context today. Thanks for watching.